once with a giant arrow? The Romans had a solution. Several, actually.
Siege weapons, but when they used to not throw rocks and they would throw like infected dead animals and dead bodies over the walls, holy biological warfare starting. That has to be the start, right? Like a siege weapon where they're just hurling like infected, plague-ridden bodies. Not the plague necessarily, but some sort of like disease. Who did that? Was that the Romans? The Mongolians? Yeah, the Mongol Empire. They did use plague-infected corpses during the 1346 siege of Kaffa, which is now Ukraine. They had trebuchets and catapults launch infected dead bodies over the city walls to infect people.
The Franks, Anglo-Saxons, and Vikings all had their own...
They would sometimes be alive. That's even worse.
Variations of the sword, the shield, the battle axe, and by the 11th and 12th centuries, mail shirts for protection. I feel like it goes without saying, but the Vikings had some very cool helmets, and I'm not...
Yeah, who invented chainmail?
Talking about these. I'm talking about these. The nasal guard helmet was practical, protected your face, and stylish. Looked cool.
Was it that common that people would chop at your nose?
In the Middle Ages, the Japanese created one of the most iconic...
Oh, the coolest sword-based weapon.
Swords of all
Or blade, really.
time. The katana. And the shorter version, the wakizashi, which was worn at the side when the katana had to be removed before entering certain locations. The Chinese had some interesting swords as well, like the Dao, which was actually used by the Mongols, though of course, the Mongols were better known for their horseback-mounted mastery of the bow.
Oh my god, the horseback-mounted mastery. Have you ever seen, like, modern-day people still, like, practice horse riding the same way? The videos of, like, modern-day Mongolians leaning over on horseback. Oh my god, I gotta fucking find a picture of that. How is he balancing himself? He's literally standing on the side of this horse, hooked by just his leg, aiming accurately on a moving horse. Probably hitting either a standstill or moving target. That's like next level skill.
This is a mirror, if I'm correct.
In Europe, we saw the rise
Who?
of the longbow, which the English
I'm at an Odin's mirror for a balcony. Where? What was that?
How long or how hard it is.
Longbow required years of experience and
Years of experience, and it's like 100 pounds of full strength or something. You can look up videos of bodybuilders trying to pull longbows. Editor, maybe throw the video down it.
And you just pull like this. That's as far as I can pull it with standard technique. That's strength. But it revolutionized warfare because even a small group of archers could lose hundreds of arrows per minute from great distances.
One thing that I always find weird is when people you know start trying to like add people that you know.
So it took less training and still provided
Well, who did that?
power. It was perfect for
Just
defending castles, but
one of my
it did have a longer
random friend added another friend of mine, and then the one friend is like, "Who the fuck is this?"
28 yards or 300 meters.
It's usually how those conversations go for me, and I'm just like, I don't know why my people are doing that. It's weird.
There would be like a dot in your peripherals. Just press R to reload.
It's always been weird, always will be weird.
It's longer to reload a crossbow in Minecraft than a bow. Watch me. But that's what they're not shooting at individual people. Like if you just had 100 guys with crossbows just ripping it straight in the air.
That looks so
You hit 10 people.
sly about it. The sword evolved into many familiar varieties during this time period, like the hand-and-a-half sword.
And
The dagger was popular as a quick sidearm, self-defense, or maybe sneaky assassination weapon. Remember, it's always faster to switch to your, whatever. Staff weapons were very popular in this period, as the spear remained one of the most effective and easy-to-use weapons in hand-to-hand combat. But it was...
I love watching modern day medieval fans fight with this armor on, and they just beat the shit out of each other for like 20 minutes until one of them gives up.
It remained one of the most effective and easy-to-use weapons in hand-to-hand combat. But it it wasn't just the spear, it was also the bill, the poleaxe, the halberd, the lance, and the bardiche. We had a lot of stab weapons. In Asia, we got the naginata and the santi, an Indian spear that had a convenient guard in the middle to allow for safe pokey-pokey. Make the staff handle a little shorter, and you get another host of scary weapons.
That is just a long hammer.
Warhammer could cave in helmets and break bones behind thick plate armor. The flanged mace, the morning star, and the flail are classic
Oh, the Morning Star might be better than a mace, bro.
and sinister-looking medieval weapons. Meanwhile, the Aztecs were perfecting their own form of deadly.
Oh, I used to watch them on like Deadliest Warrior, and it would just be like obsidian that just was really jagged and sharp, and they would rip it through people's
Warfare.
bodies.
They had the Makohito, a club with embedded blades made of obsidian. These things could decapitate a horse. They also had stone flake throwing spears and
Your random ass videos are pretty funny.
Europe, heavily armored.
Hey man, they're pretty good.
And wore a variety of legendary helmets, like the Hound Skull Bassinet, the Great Helm, or the Frog-mouthed Helm for jousting. However,
You can't see shit in these.
the heavy armor and thick castle walls of the medieval period would soon become obsolete. Gunpowder to the evolution of weapons. The Chinese have been using gunpowder for a while.
Famous era of weapons was the Revolutionary War muskets, where they had to load the gunpowder and then put a ball in, and so fighting was just everybody standing in a line going. Boom! For like 10 minutes. Just muskets, bro. Oh my god,
In fire lances, early rockets, and primitive hand cannons. But now, the knowledge of gunpowder had spread to Europe, thanks to the Mongols. The arquebus was an early firearm used from the 15th to 17th centuries. Then came the wheel-lock mechanism, which made for a better musket, followed by the flintlock, which made for an even better musket. If you think double the rate of fire is better. When gunpowder weapons were just starting to be used, there was a period where we made armor thicker for a bit, and then gave up. This is a pretty interesting era called
I'm trying block bullets.
Lincoln Shot, where you had units that mixed traditional hand weapons, like pikes, with the new gunpowder weapons, and they were actually really effective. As metalworking improved, we were able to make some really big guns like bombards, serpentines, and culverins, and some really interesting ones.
Okay, I will say, imagine being on the battlefield and you hear a cannon go off and a bowling ball shoots out at 200 miles an hour and straight up red mists your friend. Boom! And you just watch his whole body just fucking explode.
Ones like the Ribolt or organ gun.
Blow off
Tough,
his leg.
fine, I'll play my 8th playthrough of Medieval 2 Total War. You convince me. But despite these advancements, we still use swords. This large two-handed sword was used by the famous Lanzknecht mercenaries to counter the popular pikes of the day. In Scotland, we got the Claymore, or Greatsword, a truly colossal and impressive weapon. And though these larger swords could be a bit cumbersome, they did have other uses too. By now we had all kinds of swords actually. Cavalry swords, basket-hilted swords, hunting swords, small swords, and rapiers. We love swords. We even came up
That's a really protective handle.
with the sword that countered the sword breaker. That's pretty cool looking. India gave us the Ayudhakati, which had an almost comically thick blade. Also from the east came the curved shamshir, also known as the scimitar. Another really interesting sword is the Kora, which was used by warriors and Gurkhas in Nepal. Daggers were still popular as well, with variations such as the stiletto, or assassin's dagger.
Stiletto knife. Holy CSGO.
I told you they were useful for assassinations. This dagger from India is crazy. The Qatar is designed to allow the stabber to punch into the opponent.
You thrust it into your opponent's belly.
From the games that you've played, do you know operative that goes into Russia under the name Little Brother?
I think so.
Getting much better.
You do?
Better flintlock systems made guns even more
Or no?
deadly, giving
I
birth
think-
to the legendary Brown Bess musket of the early 18th
I
century.
think it's either
This
from
weapon
probably
was so
Metro
ubiquitous,
Exodus
the
or
British
Stalker.
redcoats used the phrase
Yeah, worst job ever, bro, being a drummer boy out on the front line.
married to Brown Bess as a shorthand for military service. Then we made little
I mean, my god. I'd rather know music.
Guns, also known as pistols. So now we could duel with dueling pistols. We loved guns so much that we tried to put them on our swords. Actually, we put them on everything. But I'm going to take a wild guess and say that these did not work very well. But the guns in the next period of history would work just fine.
Time to hot drop into a fucking... Oh, I got a hot drop into a military base and not get detected. I feel like that's why I asked you about if you know anything about that name, because that's your kind of shit. I forget, there's this province on the map called Media Luna. It's one of the worst sections. There's this one section on the bottom of the map called Flor de Oro, which is pretty bad. Pretty bad. This section over here, 10 times worse. Yeah, lots of that.
In the revolutionary world, we still use swords. I'm telling you, we love swords.
Weren't there people that were still cavalry units in World War I?
Swords. Now, for infantry, swords have been effectively replaced by the musket, but cavalry soldiers still use them. The sword was a status symbol and could be ceremonial as well. The Ottomans had some incredible swords, like the Kalij or the Yaygan. The bayonet was used heavily during this period. Turns out putting our swords on our guns was a good idea. But now,
Not the reverse. You put a sword on a gun, not a gun on a sword.
Lee's Kukri has an interesting forward curved blade and remains popular to this day among collectors and enthusiasts.
Another CS guys.
Now, interestingly, we still have some people using ancient weapons at this time, like the Zulu, who employed a short stabbing spear and actually won some battles against the British Empire. Eventually, though, modern firepower would win out. This old world versus new world was a recurring theme, as we saw Native American tribes fighting with tomahawks, clubs, and of course, the bow. Some from mounted positions, much like the steppe people from an earlier age. Meanwhile, firearms were getting even better. We developed the percussion cap, and eventually, the revolver. This was a
That would be the first guy to put a switch on a pistol. Holy.
big one.
Yeah, you get the first gun that just could constantly fire too.
Being able to fire multiple shots in quick succession without reloading greatly improved effective firepower. But that was just the beginning. Rifling in the barrels of muskets gave us more range and accuracy, which we saw in the deadly American Civil War. The expanding bullet took advantage of the rifle barrels and doubled the effective range of firearms. The Enfield rifle musket was effective beyond its cited range of 820 meters. Repeaters, self-loading pistols, and breech loaders improved the rate of fire even more. The Prussians used the Drace needle gun.
Yeah, then guerrilla warfare was more like, then people weren't lining up because guns were so accurate.
Loading rifle to beat the Austrians, who still used muzzle loaders and Koenigseggs in 1866. We even had breech-loading cannons by now. With the flood of advancing technology, one of the greatest weapons of war became industrialization, the mass production of arms, and the logistics of supply and distribution. Yes, I know that's not really a weapon.
What?
In 1884, a new gun was created that would signal the end of another age of weaponry, the Maxim machine gun.
Bro, I can't get over when we were watching, it's not even the machine gun that was that crazy to me. It was World War I, they were talking about the trench gun. That was a shotgun that had like, not like a snub nose, but it was able, you could just hold the pullback down and it would just go boom, 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 boom. And it was such a douchebag weapon because you would just mow everybody down that if you were somebody that used that shotgun and they caught you, they'd like torture you and kill you. Yeah, slam firing.
With the outbreak of the Great War in 1914, new weapons were invented to break the stalemate that had developed from the testing of the new weapons. Mechanized weapons of war in the air, the sea, and the land appeared. Better machine guns.
I gotta say, I'm gonna be in that call in literally like 2 minutes. Oh my god, I'm late.
Better artillery, deadly gas, grenades, and flamethrowers were all used in World War I. In the Second World War, infantry soldiers played a reduced role as new machines roared to the front lines. At this point, we had developed a ridiculous variety of guns. Self-loading pistols became popular, along with shotguns and an array of rifles, manually loaded like the Mauser Kar-98, or self-loading like the M1
Garand, oh my god, great COD weapon.
The Sturmgewehr 44 was a German rifle that had a 30-round detachable magazine and led the way for the automatic weaponry of the future. We had sniper rifles, light machine guns,
Wow.
submachine guns, like the Thompson, which I discovered was known as the Chicago typewriter. Of course, we also wanted to blow things up. For that, we had rocket launchers like the M1A1 bazooka. We had to come up with some better helmets to protect ourselves from all the better guns. And in World War I, it led to designs such as the classic British Brodie helmet. The Germans still used their spiked pickle helmets in the Great War. This was a design going back to the 19th century. But in 1916, they moved to the Stahlhelm. In World War II, the Americans used this
actually stop a bullet
helmet, which they called the M1. Were dwarfed by the destructive power of the nuclear bomb. And that brings us to an end of this video on the evolution of weapons from rock to nuke.
That was a good video. That was actually like so well edited too. Fucking Maximus banger vid. Alright, chat, I gotta hop in this call. I might not be reading chat that much. We got a Mac lobby going.
Oh, I just unlocked, I think I just unlocked Fuse's weapon, his gun. Oh, yeah. Caleb.
What up?
I just unlocked Fuse's gun, the LMG.
Connect, team up, conquer.
Oh, fuck. How am I supposed to do this again? I forgot. Oh, I see.
This gun has the literal worst handling in the game. Wow. Handling couldn't get lower.
Do I see?
Cart brake? Dude, if I hit a cart right now, that would be bad. The worst punishments still used
What
today.
the fuck?
Is this like torture? What do they mean by punishments? Like for prisoners or people that they're trying to like extract information out of? The fuck is the wooden cane? The worst punishment used at Brazen Bull, I don't think they use that anymore. The worst punishment I don't think will be in this video, but I know exists, is, I think it's in some South American countries, if you steal, it's not like government, but like locals will do it. I've seen videos of it, and it's fucking terrifying. If you like get caught stealing, you put both your hands like this, they just shoot you through your hands. So you'll see people with scars in like a bullet hole in their hand, that means they were a thief.
Let's start with the bad and slowly work our way towards the stuff of nightmares. Number 8, the wooden cane. Many could
pause. Yo, what is...
Countries today still punish criminals by tying them up and whipping them. But just to make matters worse,
tying them up and whipping them, what countries still whip people?
It's often done in front of their peers and loved ones. In countries like Singapore, criminals convicted of...
They whip people in Singapore? I know you can get, like, put to death for having, like, a fairly low amount of drugs in Singapore. That's why that one time, did you ever see the video of Steve-O from Jack? He swallowed a condom full of weed when he went into an airport, and he shit it out in Singapore, I think, and then smoked it. And I'm like, you could, like, die. Or not maybe get put to death for that little amount of weed, but, like, he could have been imprisoned for a long time.
Violent crimes or vandalism can...
Yeah, how did that not, like, fuck up his insides?
Still be sentenced to judicial...
It's life in prison? I'm Googling this. What is the sentence for marijuana possession, Singapore? Up to 10 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. If you have a trafficking amount of 500 grams, it's a mandatory death penalty. or life imprisonment with caning.
Actual caning. Here.
Oh my god, bro. Do they have like a guy whose job is to just cane people?
The criminals bent over and has their ankles and wrists tightly strapped to a large wooden trestle. Before the criminal becomes a piñata, the cane is first soaked in water for a few hours, making it a lot more flexible and primed for whipping. The man who carries out the punishment is a highly trained officer, trained to deliver each strike with maximum force and precision. After each strike, there's a long pause, just to make sure the criminal feels every bit of pain that is humanly possible before the next powerful strike is delivered. The severity of the crime dictates how many strikes the criminal receives, but it can be as many as 24. Criminals are
24 strikes? When do you start, like, I was going to say you would start profusely bleeding.
But it can be as many as 24. Criminals are typically left bleeding with deep wounds and permanent scarring, leaving them with a life.
Yo, what else are they caning you for? You get caned for, like, loitering? What crimes result in caning in Singapore? Vandalization, robbery, property offenses, weapon and explosive offenses. So pretty heavy crimes. But do they cane you once and then you just get thrown in jail?
It's a reminder of the hellish punishment they once received.
Robbery, I stuttered, robbery. Oh my god, white room torture? Where do they do this?
Room. There's a room so terrifying that is struck.
That's like actually one of the worst ways. It's not like one of the worst torture methods physically, but getting put in a white room, you go insane in like 3 days.
Strikes fear into even the most hardened criminals. It's simply known as the White Room. Inside Evin Prison in Iran, there's a small, all-white isolation cell where the bright overhead lights never turn off. And all out...
Really? Yeah, dude, Vsauce did a video where he got trapped in white room, or in a white room, like simulate white room torture for like 3 days. Immediately lost track of time, because the lights are always on, you're in a white room. You don't interact with anything but white stuff, and your food generally is white as well. It's like sensory...
Son of a bitch.
But like, to an extreme level that you start like hallucinating almost instantly. Like, if you get thrown in a white room within a day, you're gonna fucking lose your mind. Not like to the point of, oh, you're permanently insane, but you're gonna, like, if you were stuck in there for like 2 weeks, you're fucked.
Noise and human contact cease to exist.
Pretty girls walk like this. Pretty girls.
This punishment begins with the criminal being dressed in all white before being thrown into a completely soundproof all-white cell. The bed, walls, floor...
Sorry, YouTube frogs, I'm hungover. I need to take my shirt off, dude. I'm like sweating, man. This is next level, dude. My body is radiating heat right now.
And even the plate and food they receive are all white. But it gets even worse. The guards outside the cell wear cushioned shoes to silence their steps, ensuring the prisoner never hears a single sound from the outside world. You see, the color white...
But what are they doing this for? Like, what crime would you have to have committed for them to throw you in a white room cell?
Wasn't chosen at random.
Like terrorism? Like... murder. I feel like it's gonna be even like murderers just get thrown in jail.
White eliminates contrast, depth, and visual reference points. And since the brain doesn't get any stimulation from the outside world, it begins to create its own, tormenting the prisoner by spawning in vivid hallucination and noises that are not really there. And because the lights never turn off, prisoners lose their sense of time, not knowing whether it's been days, weeks, or even months that have gone by.
Yeah, it's usually like when if you watch it's a really good Vsauce video, by the way. You should definitely watch it if you haven't. But the problem is you're stuck in this white room. There's no windows. You could say this about prison in general, but like because you have no contact, no clocks, nothing. You fall asleep, wake up. You could have been asleep an hour, 5 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. And so like instantly the second you go to bed, you've already lost track of time. So there was a moment where like he goes in, at a regular, clock time. Like he's going in at like, say noon. He's on a regular sleep schedule. By the end of it, he was only in there like 4 days. He was up at like 4 in the morning thinking it was like 3 in the afternoon. Like, literally exact opposite schedules.
There have been reports of prisoners remaining in this cell for up to 8 months, with some claiming that even after leaving, they have never been the same since. Number 6, amputation. Amputations are still used in countries like Iran, Yemen, Nigeria, and Saudi Arabia, and are typically reserved for thieves. For example,
like they'll cut off your hands? I knew about this shit with a bullet in South America where they'll shoot you. They cut off your fucking hands? Oh my god.
In Saudi Arabia,
What?
thieves will still be punished by amputation of the hand, while armed robbers receive a little extra, having their hand and the opposite foot amputated. Now, before you
That was a fun surprise. We get surprises every now and then. I don't
What?
know his name.
Like they're just chopping off your body parts.
get the wrong idea. These countries
I don't remember that, I just know him.
They just chop your hand off and then you walk.
do sometimes take it easy on criminals and just amputate the fingers instead.
That's not
Oh,
really
he bought
doing
a
much
sandwich,
anyway. I mean,
nice.
okay, now you got a palm, you got a nub. You know, you cut your fingers off. I mean,
Oh,
that's
good
not
luck.
really helpful. I mean, you still have a palm, I guess. Like you could grab things.
Ah,
Like if you had no
okay.
fingers, you would still be able to like, I guess, grasp stuff because you still have a wrist.
Which is exactly what is done in Iran. In 2025 alone, at least 3 thieves had the fingers on their right hands amputated. The punishment uses a guillotine style
I'd be begging for them to chop off my left fingers, dude. Holy. What's your dominant hand? My left, my left.
machine, just a lot smaller. Here, prisoners are blindfolded, handcuffed, and restrained. The hand is tied in place with the fingers pointing out. As soon as the sign is given, the
Actually, I don't know. Gaming-wise, would I rather lose my left hand or my right hand? Life-wise, losing my right hand would be worse because I'm right-handed. But, like, I got a WASD, you gotta use the keyboard. Wait, do left-handed people... Wait, I've never actually thought about this. A keyboard's made for right-handed people. If you're left-handed, do you use the mouse with your left hand? No. I feel like
How the hell are we
all
supposed to
gamers
capture the
still
helicopter?
use- but that would
And there's
be
4
really
enemies.
weird, right? We don't. No, but that would be really weird, though. To have to control a mouse with my non-dominant hand? Like, I don't think I could do that. But I think even if you're left-handed, if you've grown up always using a mouse on your right hand, it's normal. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because you're like 5 years old, first time you use a fucking computer, you're in computer class, you use a mouse on your right hand, so it's normal.
The lever is released,
That's true.
and the blade slams down on the person's hand, easily removing the criminal's fingers. They are then quickly stitched up if they're lucky, and sent back to their prison cells to walk it off.
Oh my god, so they still have to serve time. Castration?
5. Castration.
Medical castration or chemical castration or literally chopping people's nuts off? I can't imagine a dick with no balls. Did you imagine a dick with no balls? It would just be like a snake. It'd be like a shaft with nothing there. That would be really...
Countries like South Korea,
It'd be really weird.
Poland, and Indonesia,
It'd be like a dildo. Dildos tend to have nuts.
anyone who's convicted of being inappropriate with children can
Look it up? I don't think I'm gonna look that up.
be sentenced to chemical castration. This punishment
Okay, so they're not chopping your balls off. They're giving you something that makes it so you can't reproduce.
and typically begins after the criminal has served their sentence and right before they are set to be released from prison, where they will receive the first of many injections to drastically lower their testosterone and libido. The more severe the crime, the longer the castration period. Now, being injected so often does carry some side effects, but realistically, nobody cares. But in countries like the Czech Republic, castration is taken even further. High-risk criminals who continue committing heinous crimes can be permanently castrated. From 2000 to 2016, over 84 surgical castrations were carried out. But in recent years, the numbers have plummeted. After heavy international pressure, the law was changed.
Well, if you don't have enough, does your dick still get hard? No, right? Because you would have no, especially if you're chemically castrated. No, if you're chemically castrated, your testosterone's low. It would be erectile dysfunction. If you have no testosterone, you're not getting hard because you're not getting erect. I gotta Google this. If you don't have balls, will your dick still get hard? Question mark. Yeah, it's possible, but it's a lot harder. While single testicle produces enough testosterone to maintain erectile function, removing both testicles significantly drops testosterone, often causing low sex drive and erectile dysfunction. Bang, so I was kind of half right. Furious Pete has 1 ball.
Today, they still perform permanent castrations.
I remember that. I remember I used to watch Furious Pete all the time. He'd go, man, they cut off one of my balls. He had testicular cancer.
But are now only given to criminals who
A
fall
lot of people have 1 nut, though.
on tier.
As an Amazon Prime member, I love having Dash Pass for free. If I ever need makeup ASAP, my Dash Pass got me covered with $0 delivery fees. Get access to exclusive items and deals. All you need to do is link your Amazon account with DoorDash. Get Dash Pass for free now. £10 plus. Download today.
Number 4, an eye for an eye. In Iran, the victim or their family can request an equivalent punishment for their attacker. This means they can request a life for a life, an injury for an injury, or in this case, an eye for an eye. The act of blinding someone as a form of punishment has been carried out a few times in recent years, with the most
Getting chemically castrated or having them take my eye out? Nah, I don't know.
recent 3 cases occurring in
I need to see? Well, they only take one eye.
2022. Surprisingly, many of the cases were very similar. A person, for one reason or another, decided to throw acid on someone, causing the innocent person to lose their eyesight. The victim or their family can then legally request the same punishment for the attacker. It all begins with the person being restrained and having their eyes,
Where does
or
this mission
eyes held
restart me
open.
at?
Acid is then dropped into the eyes.
I just got blown the
permanently
fuck up,
blinding
so.
them. The drops are administered by authorities, but the victim can request to do it themselves. Well, as long as they can still see. The injury is then verified by authorities, and the attacker is sent back to prison to serve the remainder of their sentence. Number 3, pushed off a cliff. This is one of the most disturbing and strangest punishments in the world. In Iran, criminals can still be